And welcome everybody to the Huddle, KGUN9's weekly streaming sports talk show. I'm Jason Barr. Pat Paris on vacation this week, well-deserved vacation for Pat. So I'm flying solo following a big weekend for University of Arizona basketball and football. And I've got a guest this week, and he is Tony Daniel, Senior Associate Athletic Director at the University of Arizona, in charge of revenue generation. Tony Daniel, thanks so much for joining us here on the Huddle today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us. And yeah, it was a huge weekend for the Wildcats. Wildcat weekend, we were calling it. So yeah, excited for more of that.
All right, so let's start with the Red Blue Showcase. That was one of the more entertaining Red Blue Showcases, I think, certainly, in recent years. Whose idea was it who gets the credit for Rocky Grogstone? Who gets the credit for having also Michaela Purdue go up against Anthony Del Orso in the three-point competition? That was really exciting down the wire, where Del Orso only won by one three-pointer. Who came up with all those ideas for Red Blue Showcase?
Yeah, I actually think Coach Lloyd gets the credit for Rocky Grogstone. That was, we wanted the stars to align, and figuratively and literally, and I think that came to fruition with Gronk and Shaq and Hannah from Love Island and Gronk's girlfriend Camille, right? All those folks just being there.
They were the celebrity judges for the slam dunk contest. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, being there and making McHale the place to be. We talk about that all the time, but I do think Coach Lloyd gets the credit for the Grogstone idea and just bringing that into play, and it was great overall.
Boy, I'm thinking you guys in administration have the same kind of confidence. We don't get too excited about this basketball team right now, but just kind of looking at the roster, it's like, whoa, there's a lot of talent on this year's team.
Tons. Yeah, I know Coach Lloyd doesn't want the expectations, especially from the department, but he knows, and everybody in this town knows, and everybody around the country is looking at this roster, as you mentioned, and you see it. You see it on Friday night at Red Blue. You see it on paper, and so now it's just time to come together and these guys to gel, and we're all obviously hoping for that. And the best thing that we can get for the Wildcats, I think, is that next Final Four run, and I know this town is ready for it, and this team is ready for it.
You and I did a story on the new court at McHale Center back in the spring when we had the fan vote, and the winner was the big cactus on the court. What was the initial feedback like that you received regarding the new court at McHale Center that everybody got to see for the first time at the Red Blue Showcase?
Yeah, people are loving it.
Take a look at it there on the screen.
Yeah, people are loving it. It's they love the cactus back on the court. Obviously, there was some discourse on which one won and what the votes were, with this being our true winner and this being placed on the court. People have definitely come around and are excited that this is just back in the way that it is. It really makes our arena, if it wasn't already the top arena in the country, one of the top couple courts in the country, and it really just shows you what it means to be a part of Arizona basketball and the history that this logo brings, and just giving people that reminiscent feeling of being a part of that.
Yeah, but back to the roster a little bit. Tommy Lloyd made an interesting quote or sound comment at Media Day about this year's roster and what it is compared to other years with NIL and the era of players being paid. I want you to please listen to that. We're going to listen to that and then have you comment on Tommy Lloyd's comment regarding this year's roster.
One of the things I really love about this program and this new era of NIL and transfer portal, this Arizona team you have here is the same Arizona team you had 25 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah. What do you I think Tony, I think some people may have thought, hey, maybe U of A wasn't still going to be an upper echelon team, possibly with NIL. They could lose to maybe some schools with some bigger pockets, or maybe not even schools with bigger pockets, but maybe even cities with bigger pockets, right? Because didn't Miami get to the Final Four? But here's Tommy Lloyd saying this team is as good as any that's been at Arizona over a recent time. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think I would agree. I've heard Coach Lloyd use, right, we talk about social media all the time and this day and age of the student athlete and students in general. Coach Lloyd always makes a great point that the world is changing, the students, the student athletes, but we as people, we as the older adults, the older generations, we're changing as well. We're adapting as well. So I think that's part of what he means as well. Like this team is people who love Arizona. These kids that have come in, these student athletes that have come in, they love Arizona. They want this thing to be as successful as possible. And if you're here at practice, if you were at Red Blue, you see it. You see the pure energy, the passion that is there. And so I think that's kind of hits to what he's talking about, and the passion and how hard these guys are going to play. I think that's what you're going to see come out on game days this year.
Yeah, also opening with an interesting preseason game against St. Mary's. Usually you don't have a team of that caliber in the preseason, but they do this year instead of just a scrimmage against St. Mary's. So that's going to be interesting. We're talking with Tony Daniel, Arizona Senior Associate Athletic Director in charge of revenue generation. Let's turn now to the football as the Wildcats host BYU on Saturday. Big game. I know you want to sell out, and everybody does here in the department for Arizona Stadium in this game Saturday at 5:00. You were a big part of the game day upgrades at Arizona Stadium going into this year. What have you liked? What's worked well? And what do you think still needs tweaking at Arizona Stadium for the game day experience?
Yeah, I think the game days have been incredible. I think the energy around this team and how well they're playing and how connected they are is filtering out into our community. I think you're seeing that on a bunch of levels. To your point about the game day experience, we took a hard look at what was going on before the game, in the game, after the game, and what we came back with was from our fan surveys is that we wanted an elite pregame experience. So we developed Bear Down Bash, and that has been an overwhelming success. I don't know if you had a chance to go out there before this game or any of our games, but it's been a tremendous time. Our fans have really enjoyed it. The concerts, the live music, the free giveaways. There's so much going on and so much good out there, and we're continuing to build on that. In game, we looked at everything, and while we weren't able to fix the sound this year, while we still have some gaps we feel with our video board and some of the entertainment that comes along with that, we were able to tweak some sound, and we feel like our music has been better. The sound has been incrementally better just based on the tweaks that we were able to make, and we're looking to continue to improve that. Another big thing I would say, and we'll probably get into this a bit later as well, is the Bear Down Bash or Bear Down prices. I'm sorry, where we lowered concession prices on certain items, water, soda, hot dogs.
I know that's appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah. So all those things taken into consideration, I think, have been really well received, as well as Food Truck Alley on the west side, just giving our fans a multitude of options and opportunities to make it affordable for them. That's always what we're looking to do. We love Tucson. Tucson is what makes this thing whole. The Wildcats are here for that reason. And so anything that we can do to make the games and experience better is what we're going to try to do.
I know last Saturday was the earliest start time, I believe, in 21 years. I read the noon kickoff against Oklahoma State. I know there was an announced attendance of 40,000, but there were a lot of empty seats. Do you attribute that to the heat and just sitting in the sun and baking for 4 hours, or something else with some of the empty seats last week?
Yeah, I think that obviously played a factor, but we just appreciate those that did come out. It always gives our team a boost. Students, the general Tucson and Arizona population that comes out to the game, you can really feel it. Like it changes the ebb and flow of the game when those folks are loud and energized. And we can't wait to see more of that this week. This one is the premier game in terms of opponent on our schedule. They're ranked number 18 coming in here. Our team is playing really, really well. And we're just excited to see what Tucson has to offer. This is going to be an electric atmosphere on Saturday. Our players are going to be ready. Our coaches are going to be ready. And I know Tucson's going to be ready as well. Yeah,
Bear down against Bear Bachmeier, the BYU freshman QB, who the Arizona defense will try to stop. The Arizona defense, the only program in the nation that has not allowed a passing touchdown. If somebody would have said that going into this year, I think there would have been some surprises. But we were keeping track last week when Nebraska was playing Michigan State, I believe it was, and Michigan State got that passing touchdown, so we could report that statistic. So, good for the Arizona defense, and hopefully they can put it all together on Saturday.
Yeah. Hoping for more of the same. And truly, our fans, our students make an impact on that stuff. And it's been great so far this year. And again, hoping to continue that. Yeah, we hope that we can come I can be on the show next week and we can say the same thing, that we still haven't allowed one, which would be great.
Yeah, no, you'd be welcome back. Early last year, Brent Brennan may have made a comment that he probably wishes he didn't make when he said, it wasn't his job to market the team. But what a difference a year has made. In the news conferences this year, he's rallying people. Hey, let's get everybody out to Arizona Stadium. Let's make this place, rowdy and loud and give our team the home field, advantage that this team deserves. How much of a coach's role should that be in this day and age?
I mean, we want Coach Brennan to be the best head coach that he can be. Sometimes that requires promoting to your fans and being a part of that. But I think we take that as an athletic department as well. Like, a lot of change happened over this last year internally to the athletic department as well as on the football side. And so I think just holistically, we are doing a better job of promoting all of our programs that make Arizona great. And I think I've said it multiple times on this call, but Tucson is why we are here. These fans, this passionate fan base, the love that Tucson and Arizona have for the Wildcats is why we do what we do. And so all that has been taken into consideration where, all the way back to the spring showcase when we had the concert on the field and the Easter egg hunt and, getting to watch the team, to where we are now 5 games in 5 home or going into our 5th home game of the season. All that has been taken into consideration and just connecting with Tucson. The most connected teams you hear our coach say it all the time. The most connected teams are the best teams. We feel that way about our community. The most connected communities are the best communities. And that's what we want to instill and continue to drive with our fans.
I'm Jason Barr. This is the Huddle, KGUD9's weekly streaming sports talk show. We're joined by Tony Daniel, Arizona Associate Athletic Director in charge of revenue generation. There are others who handle philanthropy. I know some gifts have come, in recently, and I know maybe you can't speak specific to that, but what can you share about where the athletic budget is and revenue and where things are now, maybe in relation to where they were when you joined a year and a half ago, and Desiree came a year and a half ago?
Yeah, much different landscape than when we arrived, and that's all attributed to our athletic director and our staff. The budget process was a lengthy one, obviously inheriting the debt that we did. Last year, we closed out at about $5.8 million behind the budget. This year, we are going to balance our budget, and that's been a common theme through all of our meetings and what we're
so is that
to
calendar year 25? Because that's an exciting thing for people to hear. Or is that a fiscal year?
Yeah, fiscal year. Yeah. So our fiscal ends in June. Yeah. So by fiscal year end of June.
So from June of 25 to June of 26, you're going to be revenue neutral.
Revenue neutral. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay,
So that's a big thing for us. And so lots of things go into that. Growing revenues from bringing sponsorships in-house and the naming rights and those conversations, ticket revenue, philanthropy revenue, all of those things are attributed to, and then cutting expenses in every way that we could. Obviously, the $20 million that we're paying student athletes now as a part of the new revenue sharing is built into that. So we're not hiding from that. We are going to be as competitive as possible. But all of those factors, are taken into consideration now that we're going to be neutral.
And any update on stadium naming rights? I believe you're in charge of that. I think Desiree Reed-Francois said, hey, this could happen in a few weeks, or it could happen maybe in a couple years. You want to get the right situation, the right sponsor. What can you share with regards to Arizona Stadium naming rights? Is that something that's still in the works?
Yeah, absolutely. In the works. Those are conversations that are active and engaged right now for sure. I can't speak on who those partners are just yet, but they are actively happening, and we're excited about where that's going. We've got great partners here in Tucson and across Arizona and the country that are active in those. And so we're just excited that this is a possibility for us now, and what this could mean for not only the near future, but 10, 20 years down the line of naming rights of our stadium and what this financially could help us do as we move into this new era of college athletics.
I want to end on one of the more entertaining sporting events we've seen at the University of Arizona recently, and that's that triathlon meet against ASU. U of A is the defending national champions. They and ASU have been ranked 1 and 2 this year. I believe that the championship is going to be at ASU this year. Can we see more triathlon events here, or is there an infrastructure deal that would have to happen in the meantime to get everything set up to have multiple teams participate here in a triathlon meet.
Yeah,
Great,
first of all,
great
it's
triathlon race, yeah.
yeah. First of all, it's always great to beat that school up north. There's nothing better. We'll play them in whatever, and anytime we can beat them, that's always great. But yeah, this event, the first of its kind on a campus, and ours specifically. What an event! Like the support, you're seeing it here. The support that Tucson showed up for, and this community, the triathlon community, was incredible. These women are superior athletes, and we
Kelly
hope to
Wetland
do,
there crossing the finish line, defending runner-up, national runner-up, I believe. Tremendous athlete. Go ahead, interrupt you.
No, she is, and all the women on this team are tremendous, and we hope to do more of these. To your question, we hope to do more of these events in the near future. The infrastructure, it took a lot from our internal athletic department, but as well as our campus partners and local authorities to make sure that this would happen. But man, it was an incredible event. The fans turned out amazing, and just so exciting always, again, to beat that school up north in anything that we do.
All right, it is Arizona football against BYU this Saturday at Arizona Stadium, 5 o'clock kickoff. The Wildcats 4-1, BYU 5-0, and ranked number 18 in the nation. Should be an electric atmosphere. Should be sold out. Let's hope it's sold out. Arizona Stadium. The program deserves it, and I know you guys went to a lot of effort to try to make that happen. Tony Daniel, Arizona Associate Athletic Director. Thank you so much for joining me on the Huddle today, and we will we'll chat soon.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, very limited tickets remain for Saturday. Get them quick. They're going fast.
All right, fantastic.
All right.
Terrific. Thanks so much. That was Tony Daniel, Arizona's Associate Athletic Director. I'm Jason Barr. This is the Huddle, KGUN 9's weekly streaming sports talk show. And we're going to now show you our Huddle poll question for this week. And we've got a couple of choices, and it has to do with, we talked about a lot of positive things, right? But there was one thing that wasn't so great, and that was the empty seats. To me, the noon kickoff was just kind of too hot. So, why do you think there were so many empty seats for last Saturday's game against Oklahoma State? I know the knock, and this is not anything recent, right? The knock has been in years past that people would show up for the opponents. So the games against USC, when they were in the Pac-12, would always draw well, but some of the other teams, would not. So you can vote on X or on our website. Why were there so many empty seats against Oklahoma State? Was it too hot for the new kickoff? Bad opponent, Oklahoma State. Maybe people saving their money for this one against BYU. Do you think fans are waiting for basketball season? It's kind of a different one that we put in there, or do you think the game day experience should be better? I know we talked about the lower the ticket prices. I didn't notice anything with the sound. I don't think there's anything off with the sound. I'll have to find out about that. But that seemed fine to me. The game day experience is fine, but boy, I was on the sideline and I actually shot some of the game to give our videographer a little bit of a breather. It was hot. That's tough to sit there for 4 hours. That shouldn't be a problem here. At 5 o'clock, most of the stadium is going to be in the shade. There might be like one little part here just for the first quarter. But this time of year, when we get to October, coming at 4 or 5 o'clock, the heat is not as intense as it is earlier in the day. It kind of breaks, so it should be fine here for BYU. And listen, I know Arizona still has some things to clean up with special teams. And, I know Fafita made a couple of mistakes, but listen, he's not going to be perfect. He was the Big 12 co-offensive player of the week for his 5 touchdown passing performance. And, they beat up on Oklahoma State 41-13, and it would have been 41-6 if not for, a pick 6 with a backup QB and late in the game. So they did what they need to do. They've beaten 4 teams that they're supposed to beat. They lost to the team that they weren't supposed to beat. It wasn't pretty when they went to Iowa State. But you see it there, and you also see, they could have run the ball a little bit better. Some of that has to do with Oklahoma State and how they're playing defense. Ismail Mahdi has certainly had a big first part of the season, has kind of established himself as the back, although they went to a few, and it was good to see Trey Spivey with a big game. Boy, he was 1 yard away from that 3rd touchdown reception that he would have had. So, but 80 yards there, and those 3 touchdown receptions, right? 2 were touchdowns and 1 went down to the 1 yard line. So he made the most of those. And you see Fafita's stats there. And Luke Weissong had the big catch where Fafita kind of eluded a couple of defensive linemen and then threw him the long touchdown pass. So Arizona State defeats Oklahoma State 41-13, and they play BYU at home Saturday at 5 o'clock. All right. Before we wrap up, let's see, just a few initial reaction here to our Huddle poll question. But I know some people were voting even before we put this up on the screen. But okay, why was Arizona Stadium half empty? And listen, let's be honest, it was half empty. I know there was an announced crowd of 40,000 fans, but it was half empty for last Saturday's game against Oklahoma State. Excuse me. It seats, I think, a little bit more than 50,000. So too hot at noon kickoff. That's kind of the best case answer, right? Because that's something that's just going to be, that's not going to happen again, right? If people were upset about the game day experience, well, that takes a little bit more fixing. Noon kickoff, you just change it for next week, right? It's going to be 5 o'clock. Bad opponent, Oklahoma State. Look, some teams are going to be bad when they come in here. Some teams are going to be in first place. Some teams are going to be in last place. Nothing you can do about that. And you're always going to get a few people for saying fans waiting for basketball season. So I think that's a low number. I think that's a good answer. If you're Tony Daniel, who was our guest this week, or you're somebody in administration, that's kind of what you want to see. I'd rather see those games at late. I know people sometimes complain about the 8 o'clock games. Take a nap. That's what I do, right? Just take a nap in the afternoon and you're good to go in the evening for those 8 o'clock games. I'd much rather have it be cooler. I love the whole Pac-12 after dark thing when they were in the Pac-12 a couple years ago, and they had all those games that one year that were like 8 o'clock. I like those late kickoffs. I'd much rather have that than be sweating in the sun and just be drenched in sunblock and sweat. That's no fun. It's one thing if you're going for a jog. It's another thing if you're just sitting there, watching the game. So I kind of like that answer. All right. Hey, I want to thank our guest. He was Tony Daniel, Arizona Associate Athletic Director in charge of revenue generation. We had some good chat with him. Pat was on vacation this week. He'll be back next Tuesday, and we'll chat about Arizona BYU and maybe some basketball and some things as well. So this has been the Huddle, KGUN 9's weekly streaming sports talk show. I'm Jason Barr. We'll see you same time next week. Thanks, everybody.